In the 2000s, two types of dance were created. These are the following: shuffle. The Melbourne Shuffle is a style of dance that developed in the city of Melbourne. It is one of the dances that started during in the acid house era of the 90s that UK rise. It is almost certain and verified. Plus, the Melbourne Shuffle comes from UK rave dances. Signs in the 80s, signs of recovering of English. Dates for the time in which some people appear performing the shuffle. On dates have been analyzed predating the known origins of the dance in Australia. Today, the shuffle is famous thanks to the United States group LMFAO, which developed and made this dance known worldwide, due this catching music and fountains, also to the mention their somewhat scandalous clauses.
The second representative dance of 2000 is the tectonic. If someone thought that everything was made up in the world of dance, they are wrong. And if you doubt, you should visit some nightclubs in which a new style of electronic dance has begun to take center stage that mixes steps from hip hop, breakdance, and techno, so that no one loses their opportunity to be the owner of the clues. The invention is called tectonic, and it comes from Paris. Tectonic was born in 2000 in the Parisian nightclubs metropolis. It is a phenomenon that began to organize parties under the name of Tectonic Killer, in which the dance began to take shape. In them, the imagination made an appearance and a style of dancing was created that began to spread even in the streets, where many young people occupied squares or parks to rehearse the new steps.
Clothing. Many of you remember this time because it was the last decade with a defined identity. In 2000, we all wanted to be singers and they were our idols. Britney Spears with their down to earth and the Backstreet Boys with their suggestive clothes for any teenager. They were the perfect reference for who we should dress. The makeup was of a subtlety because the goal was to look younger. The style of 2000 was a clear mix of urban and sporty, metrosexuality and the figure of the adolescent as an ideal.
The decade of 2000 was marked by the war against terrorism declared by the United States. After the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001 against the Twin Towers in New York and the Pentagon. In the context, the armed conflict took place in Afghanistan since in 2001 and Iraq 2003, which led the overthrow of the Taliban and Saddam Hussein, respectively.
It was also the decade of the rise of China as a world power. In 2001, it enjoyed the WTO, and in 2010, it became the second world economic power. And the economic rise of India and Brazil, which became poles of the reference worldwide, the known as emerging countries. The United States will continue to be a main world superpower, but it will not have the power it had in the previous decade, starting the process towards an multipolar world.
Electronic music was born at the end of the years 19 and principles of the years 20 electronic instruments or electrophones are those that produce sounds thanks to electrical energy. It would be any sound generated by means of an electrical signal, but use has restricted this term exclusively to music generated by synthesizers, samplers, computers, and machines of rhythm. From an academic point of view, electronic music is that which uses only electronic means to produce sounds.
2000 present period. The advancement of software and virtual production environments has led to a whole series of devices formerly only exist as hardware, now being available as virtual parts, tools, and software plugins. During the 90s, mobile phones incorporated monophonic tone generators that some factories use not only to generate their equipment's renters, but also allow their users some music creation tools. Subsequently, the increasingly smaller and more powerful laptops, pocket computers, and PDS paved the way for the current tablets and smartphones that not only allowed the use of tone generators, but also their tools such as samplers, monophonic synthesizers, and polyphonic multitracks, recording, etc., that allow music creation almost anywhere.
Music instruments 2000. As is often the case with all musical genres, it has certain elements that are frequently used to produce all kinds of compositions. Among the most important are those that we mention and describe below.
Electric guitar, seen as an instrument more typically of rock, although it is also widely used in electronic music composition. Unlike acoustics, it uses electromagnetic induction to enrich the vibration of its strings and can be used in the company of amplifier.
Drums. In pop music, it can be performed by a person or it can be produced electronically by a computer. The sound of a computer drums is digital. It feels more robotic and less natural than that played by a person. Drums are essential for setting the time and keeping the rhythm of the song.
Orchestral stringed instruments such as the violin, viola, and cello are sometimes used in pop music. Robot strings instruments are often used to accompany solo singers in slow songs, but are occasionally heard in pop, rock, and metal songs as well. Many of the songs by the rock band Queen uses the stringed instruments, as do many songs by the Beatles.
Voice. Voices are the main force in pop music. The music is often structured to fit the lyrics written by the vocalist. The voice can be sung, yelled, or rapped. Pop music that does not have a vocal line is called instrumental pop music. Some of the most important pop music singers are Mariah Carey, Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, Celine Dion, Justin Bieber, One Direction, or Madonna. Sound synthesizer. This instrument, cued similar to a keyboard, is one of the most recurrent and sometimes the absolute protagonist of electronic songs. It produces sounds artificially using different methods, such as frequency modulation and additive synthesis, among others.
Representative songs of the decade 2000, some of the most represent on the most listening songs that marked a time and trend in this decade are the following: Beautiful Day, You Too,
Trouble, Coldplay.
I bet you look good on the dance floor. Arctic Monkeys.
Crazy in Love, Beyoncé.
It's My Life, Bon Jovi.
Another Change, Roger Sanchez.